guys, this is Madhurma and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another book video and I'm going to review this book, The Sputnik Sweetheart by Haruki Murakami. So this video will be broken up into two parts, the review and then the explanation part. So the review part is for those people who have not yet read the book but are thinking of reading this book. You may like to hear what I thought about this book, and the explanation part is for those people who have already read this book and are not clear with the facts and want to be a bit clear about things and just want to know my thoughts on this book. So as you all know that Haruki Murakami's books are always like not so clear things, and you need to interpret a lot and you need to find meanings a lot. Sometimes it's not even clear to like clarify things, and so whatever I thought, some things I can't clearly justify, maybe that things are not clearly what I personally thought. So yes, it will be like that. So it's just purely my interpretation. So yes, so without wasting much time, let's get started with this video and I will start with the review. So as you all know that Haruki Murakami books are always like based on this magical realisms going on, and it's always like dreaming with your eyes open, and most of his books has this fact, magical realism, and very few of his books tends to like don't follow that path, and this book is like no exception. It also has magical realism going on with it. So let me first start with a bit of like briefing the story and yes, like telling you a short thing about what is really going on. So this story is basically told by a like single first person narrator, and his name is K, and he happens to be a primary school teacher, and he has a friend whose name is Sumire, and I think I'm pronouncing it correct, and like they're really good friends. However, Sumire is in love with a woman called Miu, who is like 17 years, if I'm not wrong. Yes, I think it's 17 years senior to Sumire, and she is in love with her. However, Miu has no such feelings for Sumire, and on the other hand, Kei likes Sumire and is in love with her. However, Sumire has no like feelings for Kei. So it basically speaks about unrequited love, as you can see, and things goes on to be fine. Sumire talks with Kei on phone for long hours about various things in life, and things happens to be going on fine. However, one day Miu and Sumire happens to visit a Greek island, and mysteriously Sumire vanishes, and then the entire story is all about that. I mean, yes, so for that you need to read that book to find out. Yes, so speaking of the book, I really love this book, as I have always loved all the Murakami books, and it is no exception. The plot is well written, and it's a bit hard for new Murakami readers. For new Murakami readers, I will always suggest to begin with that Norwegian Wood, because that story is really simple and it connects with the real world, and this story has an other world in it going on, and yes, like that. So if I have to rate this book, I will probably give it a 4 out of 5 because I really love the story. Now, I had two emotions while reading this story. I felt a bit of fear and a bit of sadness. Like, I don't know, this story is not like something which will give you super happy feeling it is a bit sad. The three main things which are told in this book is basically loneliness, unrequited love, unfulfilled ambitions. Yes, that is it. And the most of it is based on loneliness as far as I thought. And that is the thing that connects each and every character in this book, I believed, because loneliness connected Sumire, loneliness connected Kay, loneliness connected Mio, and even it connected the last boy who had stolen the key. If you read the story, you will find that out. And as always, it speaks of some common problems in life like unrequited love, loneliness, and things going on like that. And if you are someone who like wants to read a story and find like logic in everything going on and doesn't like really enjoy fantasies and all or magical realism, you may not like this book. It's not for those. However, for those people who like dreaming and like imagining things, this book is definitely a good read. And I have seen many people not liking this book entirely. However, as far as I'm concerned, I really enjoyed this book and really thought it was interesting. So if you have not already read this book, you may go and check this book out and have a read. It's very thin. Like it's very thin. It's for like 228 pages if I'm not wrong. Yes, it's 229. And it's a first read. The language is entirely simple, and however the meanings you need to interpret a bit. And yes, and yes, that is the fact. And I totally believe that Murakami books are not for people below a certain like 17-18 years. It's not below people like that, because these books are a bit like tough to interpret, and I don't basically think that people beyond that age can interpret. However, it's entirely good if you can. It's entirely fine, you may. And I'm not like restricting you from reading it, but I think that it's better if you are in the age of 18 and above to read these books. And yes, that's what I think, because entirely because it's a bit tough to interpret, nothing more than that. If you are like good at thinking about like good at interpreting what sorry good at interpretations and all, you may definitely give it a try and you won't be disappointed. I feel that I was not at all disappointed reading this book. And if you speak of the ending was a bit like you need to think of it. It's not a bit clear, but that what entirely happens with every Murakami book. Like he never writes something which is basically so clear. Always the ending is something abrupt and all that. Maybe in other books is not so abrupt, but it always ends like that. Like it always ends abrupt and you have to think what was really going on, and you need to clearly like think a bit to find out what is it. So if you are perfectly well with that, this book is a fantastic read for you and you may just check it out. Now that was the review of the book. Now jumping to the next part is the explanation. And I've seen in many places the main thing that is given in this book is unrequited love. However, I think what I personally thought is that the thing that connects everything in this book is basically loneliness. As because as I've Sumire, yes, if I'm not pronouncing it wrong, Sumire. Yeah. So Sumire was lonely because Mew never felt anything for her entirely, or after like she never had any friends except K. And she even like experienced a bit of loneliness within her after Mute told her her story about her and the Ferris wheel. And when she told that half of her has gone to the other world and the half of her which she is seeing in front of her is not entirely her, so that thing made Sumire a bit lonely, I felt. And because Mew was not entirely with her as told by Mew. Next, coming to K. After Sumire went with Mew, K felt a bit lonely, or after Sumire vanished, K missed talking with Sumire a lot, and he used to miss talking over phone with Sumire, all those crazy weird things Sumire asked him like on a regular basis. He used to miss those like conversations, and that was with K. Third character, the last boy, which was a bit weird. When that last boy came in that story, and his name was perhaps given Carrot, he stole the key and was caught while shoplifting. I was surprised. How come a different, like all of a sudden, story of that boy is being told amidst everything? Like Sumire is lost in a Greek island and no one can find her, and on top of that, this boy comes and his story is going on a thing so simple, like he has done this shoplifting, stolen a key, and things are going on with it. And I was a bit confused why it is coming on. Later, when I came to know that this character also felt loneliness because, as told in the story, her mother didn't have like a good connection perhaps with her father, and she like had an affair with her with his teacher K. And let me tell you all, K is a school teacher, and he kept an affair with this boy's mother. And somewhere there, this little boy felt lonely. There are lines given in this book where I found that this boy felt lonely because of the fact when Kay was telling him his story of like how lonely he felt after Sumire left him. This boy also began to experience, like began to connect the dots of it with him as well, how lonely he even felt in the real world. And so that was with the boy. If you like go on with the book, read it, I feel perhaps you will also get to know that this boy even felt loneliness. Yes, and that is it. And speaking of Mew also felt lonely because half of herself, as told by her, had gone to the other world, and she felt lonely within herself because she felt she was not complete. She was divided into parts. Her hair had gone white because of that incident, and she was not entirely her real self. The entire time she was something else, and after Sumire vanished, she even lost a bit of the spark which she had with Sumire. So she even felt lonely. And so I think loneliness is basically the entire thing that is going on in this book, and probably a thing which most of the people in this real world even experience within our day-to-day lives, the fact loneliness. Now, speaking of loneliness, loneliness is not always born of not being like among others. It's also born of not being around oneself, not giving much time to oneself. Loneliness is also born from that, and each one has a different definition of loneliness, or each ruminates to loneliness in their own way. So yeah, that is it. Now, as I have already told you all about the second most important fact, unrequited love going on in this book, as Sumire had feelings for Mew, and Ki had feelings for Sumire, and none of them happened to be satisfied, and their love was unrequited. Coming to the third thing, Sputnik sweetheart. What is its meaning? Sputnik, as told in the book, means traveling companion. It's written in one part of the book that Sputnik means traveling companion, and I think that line is told by Mew herself. So it basically means like a human connection, someone to talk to, someone to fall asleep next to, and someone to yearn for. And this book even, the thing that is going on this book is unfulfilled ambition, because Sumire wanted to be a successful writer one day, and some sparks was always missing in her writing, which prevented her from being like a good writer. And yes, now again coming to the fact, loneliness, like everybody needs someone to free them from themselves, from loneliness, and in a way that is what they each find, though not in the way any of them had hoped. There is something in the way that not even physical separation can overcome the connections the character share, and not even emotional closeness can fill the void each other's absence leave in themselves. After Sumire left, K, like nothing could fill the void of it. Like it was always working, and perhaps never this void will entirely vanish, I feel. And so yes, and speaking of the last ending, like it suddenly comes in the middle of the story that Sumire like makes a ring to K and tells him that she's back. However, this thing occurred 3:30 at night, and I think it's probably a dream, because how can someone call at 3:30? I think it's basically a dream, the ending. However, I'm not bit sure, because Sumire used to call K during night time also. Like she used to call him and clarify her thoughts. Remember, she used to go to the telephone booth and like call him and clarify like what she was thinking and all. So maybe it's not a dream. However, most probably it is a dream that I am like interpreting. So yes, now this was like the entire thing what I thought while reading this book. Firstly, loneliness is clearly portrayed in this book, then comes unrequited love, then comes unfulfilled ambitions, and yes, those are the three main things going on in this book. Maybe I have repeated some words a lot number of times, just forcing it into you. Maybe I have not done that. I have spoken this word loneliness a lot of times, because all I felt in this book was like every character was clearly connected by loneliness. And yes, that was everything about this book. If you like this video, please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, like, share, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to if you want me to make any more of these book videos, please leave in the comments below. I will be very happy to do them. And yes, so this is it. See you next time, and stay home, stay safe. You know these situations going on right now, and so it's better that you stay at home, read a good book, and like spend some quality time at home. So yes, this was everything about it. See you next time. Till next, have a nice day, guys. Bye bye.